The Heisman Trophy is normally awarded to a quarterback or a running back. Could an Ohio State wide receiver win the Heisman Trophy in 2023? I have the answer for you next. All Locked On Buckeyes.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Buckeyes for the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is Tuesday, May 30th in the year 2023, and I want to thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen or first watch of every single day. During today's episode, we will be focused on what Ohio State's receivers can be in 2023. And speaking of the receivers and what they might do in the fall, there's one man that comes to mind, route man Marv. And at the end of last season, I said he should have been in the Heisman Trophy conversation. At the beginning of this season, in the summer, I'm saying Heisman Trophy candidate Marvin Harrison Jr. It just makes sense. And when you think about the Heisman Trophy, who does it normally go to? A quarterback or a running back on a really good team. Not saying you got to make the playoff or even you really got to win your conference. You're a quarterback or a running back on a really good team. A year ago, Caleb Williams, USC, a really good team, played in the Pac-12 Conference Championship game. 2021, Bryce Young, quarterback, Alabama. Makes sense, a really good team. Now, 2020 was an odd year we're going to dive into in just a little bit, where it went to a wide receiver, Devonta Smith, also playing at Alabama. 2019, Joe Burrow, quarterback. 2018, Kyler Murray, quarterback. 17, Baker Mayfield, quarterback. 2016, Lamar Jackson, quarterback. Running back here in 2015, Derrick Henry, back to a quarterback, Marcus Mariota in 2014. 2013, Jameis Winston. I could keep going, but I think you kind of get the idea. These guys are either playing for national championship winning teams. A lot of them are playing on playoff teams, or the guy Lamar Jackson, you just pop off. Like, he literally just went off in that year, and he wins a Heisman Trophy. There aren't many wide receivers that win the award in college football. And I would warn you, don't go to the Wikipedia, because I went to the Wikipedia just to fine-tune some things and to get a list of Heisman Trophy winners. And it said there were 5 wide receivers that won the award that played wide receiver. So I'm like, okay, cool. Who? They listed Eric Crouch as being a wide receiver when he won the award in 2001. Eric Crouch was a quarterback. I think he caught 1 pass. So maybe if you have 1 stat, 1 catch at that position, they list you there at Wikipedia. But I don't think about Eric Crouch being a receiver. It's a quarterback, and he was a really good one for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. There have been a few wide receivers that have won the award in my lifetime, probably in your lifetime as well. Tim Brown in 1987. Desmond Howard in 1991. Devonta Smith in 2020. Just spoke about him. And so you kind of get the idea that there aren't many receivers that win the award. So what makes these guys so special? Tim Brown, Notre Dame, really good football team at the time. He also was a dog on the football field, so it made sense why he did. Also, if you want to look at his stats aren't eye-popping in the year that he won the Heisman Trophy. 39 catches, 846 receiving yards, 3 passing touchdowns. That comes after a season where he had career highs during his junior year in South Bend. Devonta Smith, I don't even believe he was the best receiver on his team in 2020. The number 1 receiver, Jalen Waddle, went down injured. In comes Devonta Smith, and he went off in 2020. 117 receptions, 1,800 receiving yards, 23 touchdowns. So you kind of see the idea. You kind of got to be special. Not only special, you got to capitalize on the opportunity that's right in front of you. Tim Brown, 87, capitalized. Desmond Howard also was a returner, which helped him in the eyes of the Heisman Trophy voters. Marvin Harrison Jr., what do you know about him? Not only is his dad a Hall of Famer, he was phenomenal last year playing receiver for the Ohio State during his sophomore year. 77 catches, 1,200 receiving yards, 14 receiving touchdowns. He had 2 carries for 32 yards as well. So he does some special things. It's Here's why I think, when you think about it, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, you got Emeka Egbuka on one side, Harrison Jr. on the other, maybe Egbuka in the slot, Fleming on the outside. Whatever the case may be, this could be a season where you see Harrison Jr. have 100 catches, Harrison Jr. over 1,600 receiving yards, Harrison Jr. between 18 to 20 receptions. And I'm not just making this stuff up. I mean, he's that lethal. And if what I think should happen actually happens, you're looking at a scenario where he's playing on the field with a guy who was his high school quarterback at Kyle McCord. And that means something. Now, some might say, no, we're going to downplay that thing. That doesn't mean much. I would say pause, pump the brakes, think about it. What's one thing we realized about Njigba and Stroud during 2021? Not only did they have chemistry on the field, they were best friends. So they had chemistry off the field. They also were working together and striving together to be the best receiver-quarterback duo in the entire country. So when you think about the thing about Harrison Jr. and Kyle McCord, if McCord wins the job, which I think he's going to win, when you think about those two guys going from high school to college, what do you think? Previous history of success. Go back and look at Kyle McCord's stats from high school. 247 Sports has them for you. He's a good man. He's a good quarterback. Max Preps might have them. I think I saw him for 247 Sports a few years ago when I was discussing that thing with John Garcia Jr. here on the show about McCord, the quarterback, and what it means for him to commit to the Ohio State Buckeyes. It makes a lot of sense for me to say Marvin Harrison Jr. should be in the conversation now. At the same time, the quarterback is going to be a big factor here. Because if I didn't believe in the quarterback, whoever the starting quarterback is, if I did not have faith in either Devin Brown or Kyle McCord, if my faith was gone, I would not be making this statement about Marvin Harrison Jr. potentially being a Heisman Trophy winner in the fall. I'm not here to say it's going to happen, but I will make this statement and then move on with the show. If there's a guy in Ohio State who could win the award as being the best offensive player for his team, it is Marvin Harrison Jr. I think Kyle McCord can, but he has to pop off. I don't know how big of a season he's going to have in the fall. He's going to have to pop off. For Mayan Williams, really good. I don't know if he has a Heisman Trophy season in him coming up in the fall. Trevion Henderson, I am not ready to make that type of bold statement about him. But when it comes to Route Man Marv, y'all better watch out. When it comes to Route Man Marv, y'all know my belief in him. Route Man Marv can win the Heisman Trophy in 2023. Now, thinking about what he can do is great. Are there things at Ohio State that might derail this from happening? We'll discuss it next on Locked On Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by Built Bar. Looking for a delicious snack but don't want all of the sugar and calories? Then you need the best tasting protein bar ever. Built. If you're like me and you want to make healthier snack choices, but you don't want to compromise on taste, I've got just the thing for you. Built Bars and Built Puffs. Built Bars are healthy and taste amazing. What makes Built Bars so good? Well, for starters, they are all covered in 100% real dark chocolate. I'm not sure how Built does it, but these bars taste like a candy bar while maintaining amazing macros. Only 130 calories and 4 grams of sugar with a whopping 17 grams of protein. And now you don't need to wait around to get a box. For years, we've been talking about ordering Built bars at Built.com. But now you can get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club. Head to your nearest Walmart today, walk to the pharmacy section, and grab yourself a box of Built Bars. If you're close to Sam's Club, run in and grab a 13-bar box with our hit flavors, Brownie Batter Puff and Churro Puff You. Can thank me later. Thanks for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every single day. Make sure you subscribe to Locked On Buckeyes on the YouTube. It's also available on Apple, on Spotify, on the Odyssey app, or wherever you get your fine podcast, including the SiriusXM app. Subscribe to Locked On Buckeyes wherever you get your fine podcast. It's available for you, and Locked On Buckeyes is a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So Marvin Harrison Jr. is one of those guys at Ohio State that your boy has a belief in. And if you're an Ohio State fan, I think you have a belief in him as well. Now, as great of a season as he might have in the fall, there are things that probably will happen at Ohio State that might hinder him from winning the award in the fall. Now, you may say, Jay, why in the world are you going this way to say you believe Marvin Harrison Jr. can win the award, but you also discuss things that could hinder him from winning the award? Because it's reality. And I don't want to be somebody that comes on here and discusses certain things and says, oh, we're going to skip over reality. We're just going to jump right over it and act like it's not there. We can't do that. We have to be realistic. We have to be realist. And realists will tell you, yeah, man, there are things that will probably happen in the fall that might hinder Harrison Jr. from winning the award. Think about the last great receiver, well, not last great receiver, last great receiving season that we had from a Buckeye, 2021. Jackson Smith-Njigba. What do you have? 96 receptions, over 1,600 receiving yards, and I forget how many receiving touchdowns, but it was a lot. What do you have in that season? Not only a really good quarterback, a Heisman, I think he was a finalist that year. What did you have? You had a running back that kind of made things okay. Wasn't a bounce attack, but it was a pass-heavy, air raid style of attack. Yeah, Henderson had over 15 rushing touchdowns and over 1,200 rushing yards in that season. Great, but you still had more of an air raid attack in that season. I believe in McCord's arm. I believe in Devin Brown's arm. I believe in that. I believe that if Ryan Day puts them in the QB1 slot, that he believes they are the guy to run the offense for the Buckeyes in the fall. I believe that. Also, I do believe we might get more of a balanced offensive attack in the fall. If you get all the backs healthy, from Henderson to Mine Williams to Chip Trainum to Evan Pryor to Dallin Hayden, T.C. Coffey, and the other guys that are going to be in that room, if everybody is healthy, Wilton Hartson, I believe, three-star walk-on running back out of the state of Ohio, if everybody's healthy and the O-line starts to get into form, game 3, game 4, why wouldn't you think the Buckeyes are going to have a balanced attack? What does Brian Hartline realize? Even though he's a receiver guy, the best way to get my guy open is to have the running backs get loose every now and then. It's an easy way to have a well-oiled machine and have the offense being the best unit it can be, and to allow the team to be the best team it can be, to have the offense being balanced. What did you have in 2019? A 2,000-yard season from J.K. Dobbins and a phenomenal first year as a starter from Justin Fields. What do you have? A team that's almost playing in the national championship. What's been as good as the offense has been? Put up a lot of numbers over the past couple seasons. What's one thing that's been lacking or has not been up to par for Ohio State standards? It's easily been the running game on offense. Now, offensive conversation. Defense maybe later in the week. We're not doing that now because your boy don't have we don't have enough time left in today's show to discuss the issues with the defense over the past couple years. We've done it on previous shows. We ain't got time to do it right now. What we do have time to do, though, is really think about, does a balanced rushing attack hinder Marvin Harrison Jr. from winning the award, the Heisman Trophy, in the fall? Absolutely. Now, that's not saying he won't win the Biletnikoff, being the best receiver in the country. Man, the Heisman Trophy is different, man. It's different. There are multiple Player of the Year or Outstanding Player awards in college football. It's weird. They're put on by these private groups. The Heisman Trust is one that runs the Heisman Memorial Trophy, and the nitty-gritty and nuts and bolts of this sport are one of the oddest things about any sport we watch in our lives. And so I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty, but he could win the Biletnikoff, Marvin Harrison Jr. He could win the Walter Camp Award for an Outstanding Player of the Year type of award. Win another one. I think the Maxwell is another Player of the Year award, and not win the Heisman. Does it make sense to me? Absolutely not. Does it make sense to someone that's just off the street that's saying, well, tell me about your favorite sport? What kind of awards are they able to win at the end of the season? And you go in and say, ooh, I got that award. Okay, wait. Well, Biletnikoff, great. I got this award, this Player of the Year award. I got this Player of the Year award. I got that Player of the Year award. I got another one here. And oh, wait, I got the Heisman. Wait. So you got one sport, 4 awards for the most outstanding player or the Player of the Year? Does that make sense? Absolutely not. But that's how college football's ran. A lot of things in this sport don't make sense. Doesn't make any sense in my lifetime, for you either, in most of your lifetimes, for there to be a time when there was no national championship game. Now, luckily, I started to fall in love with college football when there was a national championship game. But if you were to go back and say 1980, no national championship game. 1972, no natty. 1955, no national championship game. Now, another odd thing about the sport, you can look back and say, well, who's a national champion in that year if there's no national championship game? There's multiple. So, I don't know. I had no idea I was going to get off on this little tangent. A lot of things don't make sense in this sport, which is why we can look at Marvin Harrison Jr. and say, yeah, Rapman Marv could win that award. But for him to win the Heisman, I mean, the air raid system that we saw from Ohio State over the past couple of years, that might be the best way for this young man to win the Heisman in the fall. Because realistically, if you think about it, air raid, quarterback with these receivers, that tight end, and a couple running backs that are good at catching the ball out of the backfield, woo-wee, it's a field day. A literal field day for whoever the starting quarterback is for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Marvin Harrison Jr., one of the biggest hindrances to him, that might get in the way of him winning the Heisman at the end of the season, a well-balanced offense, man. Yeah, Garrett Wilson was great in 2019, and Olave was really good, but what did you have? A balanced attack, and J.K. Dobbins just went off. He's that good. I don't know, man. I don't know. If you got a balanced attack, the better betting option to win the award at the end of the season might be Kyle McCord. I mean, Ohio State quarterback, first-year starter. Ryan Day has a track record of making guys really good as starters, making them play phenomenal football. Brian Hartline, the OC, we got to see what's going to happen. Like, I literally am up in the – if you were trying to get me to project what kind of offense we're going to get in the fall, is it going to be more of an air raid or balanced or a lot more read options? Buddy, I have no idea. What I do know is this. Brian Hartline's going to have to find a way to keep his guys happy in his receiving room and also keep other weapons on the offense happy as well. Guys in the running back room. Kate Stover, other tight ends as well. I think he can, but it's literally TBD, to be determined if it's going to happen in the fall. I hope that nothing was going to hinder Marvin Harrison Jr. from winning the Heisman in the fall, but reality is that something or some things could get in the way. There's one more thing that might get in the way that I did not discuss previously. What is it? We'll discuss it next on Locked On Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by Billiards Plus. Billiards Plus has the best selection of pool tables, game tables, shuffleboard tables, and more, and the best service in Central Ohio. Billiards Plus also can set you up with a brand new top-of-the-line grill that will last for generations. We all know how hard it is with the supply chain issues this year and getting certain things shipped on time. So when it comes to ordering that one big gift for someone you love, check out Billiards Plus and get there early this year. Billiards Plus carries the best pool tables from Brunswick, Alhausen, Canada, Billiards, and more. Plus, top-of-the-line grills from PK, Napoleon, Memphis, and Le Griddle. That will be the last grill you own. Seriously, these grills stand the test of time. No matter the season, Billiards Plus has you covered for all your indoor and outdoor entertainment needs. Visit their showroom on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin. Check them out at billiards-plus.com. Billiards Plus, family owned and operated for generations. Thanks for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every single day. Over the next few weeks and throughout the month of June, we will have a Monday through Thursday schedule outside of this week where there's no show Monday for the holiday. This week, there will be 4 shows Tuesday through Friday. But starting next week and the rest of the time that we're together in the month of June, it will be a Monday through Thursday schedule, no Friday shows. That does not mean the YouTube shorts are going to stop, which is why you should subscribe to Locked on Buckeyes on YouTube and make sure you hit that bell so you're notified every time a new video goes live. So thinking about Marvin Harrison Jr. and the idea of him or the thought of him winning the Heisman Trophy at the end of the season, yes, a balanced attack and a non-air raid offense does get in the way of him winning that prestigious award. But something else that might get in the way is something that benefits Ohio State. A balanced offense, it benefits the Buckeyes. And there is something else that could easily happen that benefits a team, can allow them to have an undefeated season, but it does hinder Harrison Jr.'s chances of winning the Heisman Trophy Award. What if the Buckeyes have 2 guys that have over 1,000 yards receiving in the season? Is it real? Can it happen? Absolutely. And I do think we're going to get a better Julian Fleming in the fall, a more consistent Julian Fleming, a healthier Julian Fleming. I saw some video, or actually a picture of him, I believe, on Ohio State's Instagram page, and he looks like he's been grinding. It looks like he's been working. It looks like he's in the best shape he's ever been in playing football for the Buckeyes. So that's a sign and a step in the right direction. However, when I think about guys and the receivers at Ohio State that could be 1,000-yard receiving guys, easily it's Harrison Jr. and Emeka Egbuka. But what about this type of offensive attack? Let's say the air raid stays intact. Harrison Jr. has over 1,000 yards. Egbuka has over 1,000 yards. Let's just say that they keep throwing the ball so much that Julian Fleming has between 600 to 700 yards or 750 yards, which can happen. But what if Cade Stover has over 500 yards and 6 to 8 touchdowns? Receiving yards it is for Cade Stover. Like, these are things that help the offense. These are things that help you score. These are things that help you be a better team. At the same time, if that's the case, what are we looking at? A scenario where you can have the Blitnikoff winner, which is still intact. It's still possible. I think Route Man Marv is going to be so good in the fall. You would be crazy to think that he is not going to be in the running for the Blitnikoff or a chance to win that award. But if all those things happen, you might not see a Buckeye receiver win the Heisman Trophy in the fall, which isn't the end of the world. Like, what are we talking about here? Undefeated season. You beat Michigan. You win the conference. You have a shot to win the Natty. Because the Natty is played after the Heisman Trophy is handed out. I believe the Heisman Trophy ceremony comes out is after the conference championship games. So in reality, what are we talking about? A team that could be 13-0 at the time of the ceremony. A team that beats Michigan for the first time in a few years. A team that wins the conference for the first time since, 2020. So you're doing some things really, really good. You're checking off boxes. You got 3 goals in the season. You've already accomplished 2 of them. Is team success the ultimate goal? Absolutely. Now, I know Marvin Harrison Jr. would love to win some awards. I'm sure he would. I would love for him too. But team success, winning the Natty, that might trump everything. So, if that's the idea of Heartline wants and has for the offense, that ultimately these guys get a piece of the pie and it's almost evenly spread out across the board, great. But that's another thing that might get in the way of Marvin Harrison Jr. winning the Heisman Trophy, in the fall. I almost said Heisman Memorial Trophy or receiving the Heisman Trophy at the ceremony in December, but see how that thing happened. We see how it happened. Route Man Marv, I believe in you. Like I said at the beginning of the show, you, my friend, can win the Heisman Memorial Trophy at the end of the season. We're out of here on a Tuesday, first show of the week. Happy to be back. Hope you enjoyed your time with your family and friends on Memorial Day. You can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. You can send all of your emails to jstevens317 at gmail.com. Thanks for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every single day. Now is the perfect time to go check out Locked On Browns or Locked On Cavs, or maybe even Locked On College Basketball, maybe Locked On Guardians. Go check out another show as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's the same place you can find Locked On Buckeyes. Every show is a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. You can check out YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Odyssey, SiriusXM. Numerous ways for you to check out the shows that are across the Locked On Podcast Network. For Locked On Buckeyes, I can't talk here on a Tuesday. This is the Tuesday edition of the show. I'll see you next time.